Well, good Wednesday morning here. Hopefully that will clear up a little bit there, and I think it is. It is September the 4th. Wednesday morning, very early in the morning. Pastor Robbie George coming to you on this Wednesday, September the 4th. And a couple days past Labor Day. I am at the exit 58, which is Black Ankle Road exit here. Just came into Montgomery County on Highway 220 South, 73, 74 South, however you want to look at it. 58 miles from the South Carolina state line, exit 58. But Black Ankle Road, just here in northern Montgomery County. I began my day at 1 a.m. this morning, and I left about 4:20. It was something like that. Not much moving out here this morning. It's a very cool morning this morning, about 55 degrees to start the day. So I had to put the pants on. I got a sweatshirt on right now, but it's supposed to warm on up a little later today, about 75. All this week supposed to be 75 to 80 degrees. Very little chance of rain, but we got our share of rain last Friday, about 3 or 4 inches of it in just about 2 hours. So we got more rain than we needed in that short period of time. So it rained too hard. It didn't do no good, ran all off. We had our first service at Archdale Baptist Church this past Sunday, September the 1st. So we are just 3 days past that. So Archdale Baptist Church is officially launched. We had an attendance of 13, and over our years of pastoring churches, there have been many a days that 13 or less showed up in the congregation. So well-established churches. That's a success to us that we successfully launched this past Sunday. Looking forward to preaching the gospel again this coming Sunday here in just about 4 days from now. We get to preach the gospel again. And God's put a message on our heart about the conflict within out of Romans chapter 8, Romans chapter 6, and how the flesh wars against the spirit, and how these two things are contrary the one to the other. That's the gist of the message. If the Lord doesn't do something different. This morning I have a 3-hour trip in front of me here to Whiteville, in southeastern North Carolina. Going to Whiteville. This will be my first trip to Whiteville, as far as working for Carpenter Company. And then I've got a second delivery in the city of Raleigh. So I'll be going down here in the southeastern part of our state, about a 3-hour journey today. And then I got to go back to Raleigh, and I don't know how long it'll take me to get back to Raleigh, and then, I'll be an hour and a half from home. So if I had to estimate 3 hours down here, 2 hours back to Raleigh, then an hour and a half back to the house. So we've got a full day of travel. We've got a full day of work in front of us. And so we thank God for it this morning. I would rather do nothing else today than travel about our state, beautiful North Carolina, this morning. And I don't have to go outside of its borders, so that's a blessing. And I don't mind going to South Carolina, sometimes Virginia, but I'd rather stay in North Carolina if the choice was mine to make. Travel from the sea to the mountains, that would be fine with me each and every day of the week. But if you put me on a run from High Point to Myrtle Beach about 3 days a week, I would like that too. We got one driver headed to Wilmington this morning. When I got there about 10 minutes to 4, he had already departed for Wilmington. We got one driver going down to Somerville, which is Charleston, South Carolina. And he's got 2 stops in the Charleston area there this morning. So everybody is stretched out. Our number 1 driver, he is going to Florence this morning, so he'll probably be ahead of me here a pretty good ways, and he's probably already in Florence this morning, and he'll be back here not long from now, back in High Point. So he likes to run Florence. I like Florence as well. This is the route Miss Janet and I would take to go to Sanctuary Baptist Church for those 2.5 years. We pastored down there from about January of 2020 to May of 2022. The first time we ever went down there to Sanctuary Baptist Church to preach, it was the day that Kobe Bryant and his daughter had died in that helicopter crash, that terrible helicopter crash. And I remember it being the first time we were down there preaching in Sanctuary. So that was in January of 2020. And little did we know what that year was going to bring and how it would change our world. But our world would never be the same after that. COVID invaded our land in March of that year. And so, but Janet and I would travel this road, and it was a good period in our life. And if Sanctuary Baptist Church was in Randolph County, I would still be pastoring that church as far as I see things. But it being 109 miles from where we live, and it was a pipe dream, if you will, this morning to think that we were going to be able to accomplish that. But I believe God accomplished what He wanted to down there in our life during that season of our life. We met some of the finest people in this world, and we served and worshiped the Lord Jesus Christ with some of the finest people on this earth. And they live in Marlboro County even today. And so some good people down there in that part of the world, I can tell you that. And it's one of the most peaceful places that I've ever spent time. I can add that there. And I miss it down there, I do. I think about them often, and I pray for them. And some of the best people in the world are in Marlboro County, South Carolina. And we'll be getting real near there here in a little while. We're in the Bisco exit 49. Bisco exit 49. And so we are 49 miles from the South Carolina state line. Those things run north to south, and they count down going south, they count up going north. And the same way from the west to the east. If you were heading towards Asheville on I-40 this morning, exit 214 is Wendover exit in Greensboro there where the Cracker Barrel is. You get off there for Red Lobster, you get off there for the all the stores and everything right there. Costco is right off of exit 214. So it's 214 miles to the Tennessee state line from that exit there on Wendover. So that just gives you an idea. You count down going towards Asheville. I think when you get into the Asheville area, you're down to about 45, 44. Exit in Asheville is Patton Avenue on the west side of town. We used to sit up there and sell furniture. That's how I knew exit 44 so well, but we stayed right off of that exit there a time or two, and we were back and forth off of that exit every day. So I knew that area real well. And then we would go westward to exit 37, I believe it was, where we stayed at the Days Inn. And when you going west there, you get more into the mountainous area around the Asheville, North Carolina. But you keep going. 20 would be the exit from Waynesville. Then you would get off there and go down towards Lake Junaluska. You get off there and go to Cherokee, Bryson City. So I've traveled this land here. I've been about everywhere. I say it all the time, like Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere, man. And I love traveling this morning. And we thank God for the skills He's given us to drive a truck. Thank Him for the job He's given us. We thank the Lord for calling us into the gospel ministry and all the blessings that has brought to our family. The Lord has put our son-in-law and daughter into the ministry now, and it just seems like our whole family now is kind of going the way of ministry. It just appears that in one facet or another, all of our daughters, all of our grandchildren are involved in ministry or around the church, and that's God's design for the home. And last week was way different than I had intended for my vacation, and getting everything done for the church in that final week and preparing for the first service, it kind of took up a lot of my week off, and so I didn't get to I took 6 Sabbath days out of those 10, but on that 5th Sabbath day on Friday, I did have to go out and meet the lady at Hillsville Community Center and get her, or say we didn't have to meet her, we just had to go pick up her key for the building for Sunday, and picked up a pizza. So we really didn't do much, but it was storming at that time, and I think we did when we got back home. We actually went up to Publix in the midst of that storm that was going on, and had to get our groceries for the produce for our week. So we did spend some time out of the house on that what was supposed to be our Sabbath day. Maybe 5 Sabbath days I got to enjoy. I got a lot of good studying done, and so that was part of the plan and the parcel of our vacation. Now this is exit 44 we're coming to here. This is where Janet and I would stop often to get gas on the way home from Sanctuary, so we have stopped here so many times. One of our favorite restaurants is just off of this exit here to the right. This is Decatur Pinehurst exit, and Blake's Restaurant is just off of that exit there. If you've never eaten at Blake's Restaurant, they've been in business like 76, 77 years. And if you're ever on your way to Myrtle Beach or going this way to get to Wilmington, or if you're ever coming down 220 towards Rockingham and you're here near Candor, Bisco, get off that exit, plan your breakfast there at Blake's Restaurant. You will not be disappointed. Now you see I'm running down the road 72 miles an hour. This car here is going about 50. That car there is a hazard to everybody on the road this morning. I don't know what's going on with that person, but they need to pull over and take a nap or whatever, get off the road, because they are a hazard, and that is what causes accidents right there. People like that, they don't need to be driving right now. I don't know what's going on with them, but this morning we get down here to Rockingham. We hit Interstate 74 or US 74, and we go east to get to Whiteville this morning. We'll be going through the city of Laurinburg, one of our favorite cities. And we'll be going through the city of Lumberton. We'll be crossing over I-95, and then Whiteville is on down there. Like I said, it was a 3-hour haul this morning. Almost to Wilmington. You're almost to Myrtle Beach when you get to Whiteville. So we're getting on down there this morning, and I wouldn't mind running this every day of the week. I like coming down to the southeastern part of our state. I love coming in down to the Myrtle Beach area and upper part of South Carolina. I don't really like going to the other side towards Greenville, Spartanburg, but that's where they send me, I'll go. But it's looking like a busy end to the week. Business has really picked up. It may have a little bit to do with we missed Monday for Labor Day, but looks like the next 3 days are going to be very, very busy. Probably be seeing Chesapeake, Norfolk, Virginia Beach area the next 2 days, I'm guessing. From the looks of things, I don't know how it'll work out, but we'll see. But wherever they send us, we'll go. And this morning, we're just thinking about how last week went with the service. We were very pleased with how everything turned out. We didn't have but a couple hiccups. I recorded the service with the cover on the phone, so all it had was the audio, but fortunately we had a secondary phone filming the service, and it took a long time to upload it, but we got it loaded in the afternoon, and so we were able to film the first service. We praise the Lord for that, and that is what we intend upon doing for the rest of the services. Hope to have Archdale Baptist Church live this coming week on Facebook. That was our intentions this past Sunday, but like I said, it was my fault, my mistake. I left the cover on the phone. It wasn't turned around the right way is what happened actually, but things happen when you're hurried, and we were kind of hurried a little bit to get the service going. So this morning, as we are coming to the Tabernacle Church Road exit, we have one of those around our own house. And we're done down to exit 39. Getting a little closer to Rockingham this morning. And so this morning, as we're thinking about God's plans for the church, we got 4 more Sundays in the month of September, and then we'll probably have 4 Sundays in October, 4 Sundays in November, and then possibly 5 Sundays in December. And I think Christmas is going to be falling on a Wednesday. New Year's Day is going to fall on a Wednesday, so our Christmas services at Archdale Baptist Church will be on or about Sunday, December the 22nd. We did find out in our discussions with Hillsville Community Center Director, Ms. Shannon, that there is a family that has their family reunion at the Hillsville Community Center every year, and they've been doing that for years and years and years, and it is sometime around our anniversary of June the 14th, and so when we get to that time of the year next year, we'll have to make some alternative service locations, so they'll be using this Hillsville Community Center for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we will be moving our service if all goes well. We don't have any of these plans that God works it out. But we may move our services to like a shelter at Creekside Park for that morning if everything works out. And that would be a little warm that time of the year, but it will be the first part of the day, so I think we can manage, and maybe we can put something together where we can do something and celebrate the church. And so we've got a lot of time and planning to put those things together. Obviously, with just our first service under our belt, we're looking out into the future, and we're just seeing what is possible there with that happening there, and those things. I go back to always to what they taught me at UPS Freight. You control the things you can control, and that's one thing out of our control. That's good that they take care of a family like that, and we pray that we build that same kind of relationship with the Hillsville Community Center, where they will look at us and that kind of light. And we're kind of using the Hillsville Community Center in a time frame that probably works for them real well, because it is in the early morning hours of Sunday. So it doesn't conflict with a lot of things that people would schedule, say starting at 12 o'clock. We're safely out of there by then. And so, it works well with them, and they would love, to have the facilities as full and rented as they can. So that works for them well, and I hope that continues, because our long-range thought, we're looking at being the Hillsville Community Center now. This is all according to the will of the Lord and the purposes of God. But we're looking to be there for years to come until God opens up other doors to move to the Archdale area. I was riding down Main Street yesterday as I was going to Walmart to pick up some ice cream, and I seen a building there across from Pioneer, and it had for rent on it, and it was in that little shopping plaza there. Everybody will know where I'm talking about. Maybe about 5 or 6 vendors in that little shopping plaza, possibly. It's on the right. It's on the same side as Gary Cook's service station. It's opposite LA Tire on the other side of the road. So it's directly across from Pioneer, if I remember correctly. And it said for rent, and Stan Bird had it there. So Stan Bird Realty must own that little plaza there. So thinking long term, we've done seen in buildings that are for rent around Archdale that they had one listed there. I believe this place is rented now, but it's in the same shopping plaza with Archdale subs. And it was some numbers that, if God provided long term, looking down the road, feasibly we could rent something like that long term, I'm thinking. Obviously, we're not in a position to do that now, because we have put out a lot of money to get going here now, and the Lord has to build our coffers back up, and then we have to secure the 501c3 status still. We're working on that, and there's some upfront money that has to pay for that. We currently don't have that on hand, so when the Lord provides, we're going to be words in that paperwork that I have no idea what they're even talking about. I mean, I'm just being honest with you this morning. So we'll have to get some wisdom where we don't have it, and then we'll have to get some help on the technological side. Our daughter's been helping us with that. She's Gen Z generation, I guess. She's in her early 20s, so she's efficient in these things that we lack, and that's the way the Lord works. He puts people in your life that will help you in your weaknesses, and then He gives us the ability with our strengths to help other people with their weaknesses, and that's kind of the way the Lord operates. Haywood Parker Road, exit 30. I went to school with a boy named Haywood Parker Jr. We called him Billy at Ferndale. He lived in the Macedonia neighborhood that I grew up. That's what they call it today. I grew up on Park Street, but they call it the Macedonia neighborhood now. They done put a fancy name on it, which I like. Macedonia, because it's in the Bible. But anyway, Haywood Parker Jr., his name was Billy. I hope he's doing well today. I don't know. Anyhow, we continue southbound here with the hammer down. Exit 28, so we're getting closer and closer to Rockingham this morning. Still no daylight, 5:28. 5:28. I think they said the first day of fall is going to be September the 22nd, but it looks like the Lord got us to Labor Day and He flipped the switch on summer and it's gone and fall's already here from my perspective. I could have stood another month of summer, but the Lord didn't see fit to give it to us. About 2 days ago, it was hot on Monday afternoon, but it was not yesterday. There was a wind blowing out of the east, northeast, or wherever. It was a cool wind blowing in yesterday. The cold front has come through, and like I said, God has flipped the switch, and He's given us this weather that people love. Fall is coming, and it may even be partly here. I don't know. There's the dragway exit for the Speedway, Rockingham Motor Speedway. I seen here in the past week that they're bringing the NASCAR Truck Series back to Rockingham. That's exciting for the city of Rockingham, and that would be a good race to go watch right there, buddy. I'd like to go watch one of them on Rockingham, that's for sure. I've been there before to see races, but it'd be a good race to go see. That racetrack eats up tires. I don't know why they ever left Rockingham, though. That was a sweet track. Maybe they'd come back one of these days. You just never know. We are in the final 10 races starting this week of the NASCAR series. From what I see, Tyler Reddick won the series, the regular season title this year. Tyler Reddick won it. He's one of my favorite drivers. I think Martin Truex Jr. won it last year, so we'll see who wins the championship. Rockingham is 10 miles, is what the sign there just said. Rockingham is 10 miles. You see the Ellerby exit, known for their watermelons all around. City of Ellerby. It's going to be another beautiful day today, though, with a temperature of 75 degrees. It don't get much better than that, but I'd like it to be a little warmer than that myself, but it's the Lord that makes the weather and provides it, so it's up to Him what He sees fit for us to have. As the speed limit is dropping down here, you know you're coming into the greater Rockingham area, the speed starts dropping down. put this highway through here, because there was a time when this was all two lane for the most part down through here all the way. Most all my life it was that way. When they put this highway in, it was really a blessing. 25 miles to the state line with South Carolina this morning. As far as us having the one service at Archdale Baptist Church at 8:30 a.m., I think it'll work well for a lot of people. I think that they'll be able to come there, those people that like to get up a little early and go and get their worship on, and then maybe go eat some breakfast with their family, or maybe go run some errands, or go shopping, or may come to Archdale Baptist Church for that hour and a half service. And who knows, the fall colors are coming, so they may come and worship with us at Archdale Baptist Church for an hour and a half and leave about 10 o'clock and go right up to the Blue Ridge Parkway and see the leaves here in a few weeks. So that's one option for people. And another option is for some people that may have to work on Sunday. There's a lot of people like that. They may want to come and worship with us before they go into their jobs. They may want to come and worship with us and slide out a little bit early so they can make it to their home church for Sunday school. That's an option. We had a pastor friend of ours that came last Sunday, and he had to get to his church by the time Sunday school started, so he slid out a little bit early, and we had a first responder with us, a fireman friend of ours, and we understand the jobs these people have. They may have to slide out of service and go take care of their communities, and we appreciate the Lord for these people that serve in our communities at large. But there's a lot of opportunity in having the 8:30 a.m. service. It is a challenge to get to church at that early hour, but we did it when we went to Hope Baptist Church for the 4 years we were there, from 2013 to 2017. We went to the 8:30 a.m. service. Janet and I loved that service because we could go to the 8:30 a.m. service and then go to 9:45 for Sunday school. And then we would be out of church by the time regular church started, I think at 10:45. We would be headed home at 10:30, just say, thereabouts. We could go grab us some breakfast, or we could just go on home and take a nap. Used that option there many a times, and then when we were working in the bus ministry, we would go get there about 8:15, and then sometimes not get home till 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 1:30 to our house. So we would be out on the route during the 8:30 to 9:30 time frame, picking up people, and then go to Sunday school, regular worship, and then have to return the people home. We know all about being at church early ourselves, and then, our jobs keep us in an early frame of mind, and it's good for some people to like to sleep in on Sunday morning. It's their only day to sleep in, so that's going to be our challenge, getting people there at that early hour. But God has designed exactly Archdale Baptist Church for those people that He has chosen, just like every other church. There's a church there just less than a half a mile from us. I think it's Community Baptist Church, I believe. And the Lord has the people there at that church that He needs. And, that's the way it works at every house of worship. We thank God for the preachers and the Sunday school teachers and all the servants in the house of the Lord that study the Word of God and go faithfully to the house of the Lord to preach and to teach other people the ways of the Lord. And what an honor it is to serve alongside of them in the kingdom's work. And so it is an extreme blessing for God to call Janet and myself to plant this church. weight of it really began to set in last week. It was different. I can tell you here from my perspective this morning that last week was very different as the days got down to 2 days left, 1 day left. You could feel not the weight, but the responsibility of what you were doing and the shoes you were trying to fill and the steps you were taking into unknown territory. And you could feel that there was something different going on in the world, and how the Lord was beginning in you something that was greater than you, which the works God has called us to do thus far, from teaching Sunday school, working in the bus ministry from 2013 to 2017, to preaching in our first church 2017 to 19, and then preaching the gospel down here in South Carolina at Bennettsville, Blenheim, South Carolina area from 2020 to 2022, and then having us get a little closer in home there in Denton, spending the time we did down there with those folks from 2022 to 2024 this year. The Lord had us in these places for a specific amount of time and for specific reasons known only to Him. And the lives that He touched during our tenures in these churches, will only be known in heaven. We have a list of about nearly 36 people that either came to saving faith in Jesus Christ or rededicated their lives to Jesus Christ in the years we've been preaching the gospel, from some that accepted Christ on the bus route, standing on the front steps of their house, to events that happen, on Main Street and people accepting Jesus Christ in a service, or just how the Lord has worked, from people walking the aisle to accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, to just how we've seen the Lord work and use the gifts and the talents of people to win souls to Christ. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's not about us. The Lord will call anybody that has a willing mind and a willing heart to work, because there's a lot of work involved in this. You've got to study diligently every day. You've got to stay on top of it, and then you've got to be ready when the time comes, and the Lord will open doors for you, and the Lord will take you places that you never dreamed of, and He will do extraordinary things in your life if you just open your life to Him. We are coming into the city of Rockingham at this time, as you're seeing the city lights all around us here. And as we're coming to US 74 here in just a second. This light here usually gets you every time this morning, but you see the Fairfield by Marriott Inn here. It always has a good crowd staying at that hotel there. I mean, they really got a good business. There must be a lot of people working in the city of Rockingham or out of the city of Rockingham at all time. Must be a lot of work going on down here, because that hotel there is always full. And it's a fairly nice hotel, I believe, from the looks of things there. Right, you would go back to Wadesboro and eventually wind up in Charlotte. And if you kept going on down that road, you'd wind up in Forest City and then wind up in Asheville if you went far enough. You go to the left there, it says Richmond Community College. And then you go to the left there, you'll wind up in Laurinburg, where we'll be hitting the highway here in a minute. You'll wind up in Wilmington eventually if you continue down 74. But this morning we're still not seeing no sunshine. It's 5:41. The sky may be finally doing its first first lighting. I see a little light up there, it looks like. Now that I look at it again. But right here, Florence, 61 miles. Sherrall, 21 miles. We will be hitting the bypass here on 74 in just a few moments here. There's a truck stop right down here on the left. We would stop at it occasionally. I don't know if it's a Bojangles they have in it, or I can't exactly remember, a Wendy's or a Bojangles, one or the other they got in that truck stop, but we would stop there occasionally. That we were on our way back home, and they had asked us to be the pastor at Sanctuary Baptist Church. We pulled in this truck stop here, and I talked to Pastor Steve for 30 minutes on the phone right there because the phone was breaking up, and I was trying to call him on the way back. And that's when we made a decision to pastor this church down here and do whatever it took to build this congregation. And made some heavy commitments that day, and we tried to follow the Lord as best we could, and we followed it to the will of the Lord for our lives, and that was May 1st, 2022. So that would have been March the 15th, maybe, let's just say. We had that conversation sitting right down here in that truck, March 15th of 2020, there about that time frame. We had come down here to preach that day, and we were on our way back, and they had asked us to be the pastor while we were down there that day, and I hadn't talked to Pastor Steve, so I had to call him. And right there's where I pulled into that truck stop on my left right there. And here's 74. Says Laurinburg on that sign. If you continue down that road in front of me, you'll be in South Carolina, and it isn't very far down there. So we're kind of going right along the South Carolina state line here as we go east. You'll be closer to it at times than at others, but we're fairly close to the state line right now. Can't see it on my GPS here, but that's the thing. I haven't ever been to Whiteville since I've been working for Carpenter, but we've been through Whiteville before, headed to the beach a time or two, but it's been a long time since I've been down this part of the world. Obviously, I know every inch of this road and traveling it so often back and forth to Sanctuary Baptist. It has a special place in our heart and in our life. And it says here it is 81 miles to the US 701 bypass at Whiteville. So it says I'll arrive about 7:19. It's 5:45, so that gives you an idea. About hour and 34 minutes from there right now. It says Laurinburg is 22 miles. Lumberton is 53, so we will stop the video somewhere around Laurinburg. So we will be going from Black Ankle Road to Laurinburg this morning. Filled out our first ministry check there from Sunday there for Kenny Greenway yesterday, and we put it in the mail today. We were able to add $1 to it, make it an even $300. It was $299. to it and give the first offering from Archdale Baptist Church to the ministry of others, and that's what the focus of the ministry is. That's number 2 of the focus of the ministry, the giving back to other ministries. And when we give like that, the thing is this is what people focus a lot of times on giving, and why the church focuses on giving so much. But the thing is, yes, you've got rent you got to pay. Yes, you know, if you're renting a building, you have to pay for the lights, the water. You have to pay for internet service if you're blessed for that, and these kinds of things. And there's just a lot of an upfront expense, and then ongoing expenses when you're in a building on your own. And we want to be that way one day by the grace of God and His timing, not ours. It's our goal to build a church in a 6-year time frame. And so that's our goals and our vision, that we want to see Archdale build a church. And then after that, our goals and our visions turn to Archdale Baptist Church planting a church. And our focus will turn to that when we get into a rented building in the city of Archdale. We want to see Archdale Baptist Church planted somewhere in our area, in High Point, in the Randolph County area, in Davison County, in Forsyth County, in Rockingham County. We want to see Archdale Baptist Church plant its first church. And like I said, when we get into a rented facility, that's going to be our focus in planting a church, just like what we did here in the Hillsville Community Center. We will try to do the same in another community, and the Lord will call the pastor of that church out of Archdale Baptist Church. The Lord will call the workers to go with that pastor and his wife, and they will go and plant this church just like we just did here. This is the Hamlet exit 316. But that's the long-range goals there. When we get into that rented facility, that will be our focus. That will be our intentions to do that. And so, you know, however long time frame the Lord puts on that, how long the monies take to make that happen, that's all in God's timing. But it takes money to build into the kingdom of God, and we just are honored to sow back and to give back what God has given us. Because when we do, and those ministries that we are sowing into, 3 of them, when they win people to Jesus Christ, we'll get to share in that soul that was saved. When we get to heaven, there will be a part and a parcel of Archdale Baptist Church that they had a part to play in seeing souls won into the kingdom through Evangelist Kenny Greenway's ministry at Cornerstone Baptist Church in the Philippines, and Pastor Jimmy and Geraldine Mercado and Bustos, Philippines there. And then in the Gospel Tabernacle with Pastor Bruce and Debbie Wood, when there's souls won in their congregations and in their churches and in their evangelistic meetings all over this country. We'll get to share in that when we give into these good works, and they are good works today, and glory be to God for it. I thank the Lord for the giving thus far, and we appreciate the Lord and those that gave, and we just thank God as those monies go forward, and we pray God's blessings over it. Now, as you see, we're coming to the Bennettsville exit. This is where we will get off for Highway 38. It's not very far down there to the South Carolina state line at all. So we know if I can get off that exit and walk to the state line, that's how close it is. But anyway, it's probably a few little miles down there, don't get me wrong. off of every one of these exits and took the back way a time or two down through the years there, traveling down here to see if it was any closer to get to our house we were staying at or get to the destination we were going, whether that was Dillon or wherever we were going to that particular time. We would hit the country every now and again and take a back road. Appreciate the day when the Lord sends the sunlight, because I'm going to tell you, it's rough driving this time of morning before the sun comes up. They say the darkest hours are those right before dawn. Gibson is off of that exit right there, the town of Gibson, 320. And there's 320 miles back behind us here to the Tennessee state line. The speed limit is dropping here. North Carolina's a lot larger state than people understand till they get out here and start traveling. And if you go 320 miles back here behind us to Tennessee, it would take you a long, long time, because that's not a highway all the way, and it's a long road to get back there. Beautiful country though when you get down there past Forest City though, all the way to Tennessee. I think I've traveled every inch of it. 13 miles to Laurinburg this morning. The Lord put a special place in our heart for Laurinburg. We spent a little time there. Did a lot of eating there. Seafood restaurant, a Mexican restaurant we like there. We would wear that Chick-fil-A out too. Some of the nicest people around here, around the Laurinburg area here. Chosen for us though in planting this church. You know, the Lord knew all along 11 years ago when He called us into the gospel ministry. We'll be celebrating our 11th anniversary of the call to preach the gospel on October the 21st next month. That was in the year 2013. October the 21st, 2013. So this will be our 11th anniversary, and we will begin our 12th year working towards it on October the 22nd. But in these 11 years, the Lord has been preparing us all along for the steps we walked into this past Sunday. And the Lord knew on day one what He was going to call us to do in our 10th year and almost 11th year. He knew that when we would get towards that 11th anniversary that we would be planting Archdale Baptist Church. And He knew that I'm just speaking in faith that 5 years from now we would plant another Archdale Baptist Church. As we are coming into the county of Scotland, we're in Scotland County this morning. For the most part, is clear this morning. We're not dealing with any fog or this time of year. You can see some very foggy mornings, and it'll get worse as time goes along. In the next few weeks, we'll have a lot of foggy mornings. As coming into the city of Laurinburg here not long. Tarzan's tree service right there. Sometime here in the next 10 minutes or so, 10 or 15 minutes, as we're able to find the exit. It's a whole lot easier driving out here this time of morning, I can tell you that, than it is a little later. And the people get on the road about 6, 7, 8 o'clock. The later it gets into the morning, obviously, the more people's going to be on these roads, and it makes the going tough. But when you're traveling this time of morning, that's why when you're traveling on a vacation, if there's any way you can get good rest and get an early start, that's your best option, to hit the road as early in the morning as you can, about 4 o'clock in the morning. A good time to get in front of it, get as much traveling done as you can in those early morning hours. Stop and take you a rest if you need it, catch you a few winks, whatever you need to do a little later in the morning, but get those traveling hours in the front side of your day, and it'll benefit you all along your travel. We stopped at that store often right there, I know. A lot of times we would come this way because we would be going to our house, which was a little north of Bennettsville. It wasn't but 9 minutes from the state line there with Laurinburg, so we would come this way and get off at the 401 exit, I think it is, and our house was on 401. So now, as we're traveling this morning here, are in the 6 o'clock hour already this morning. It's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, September the 4th, 2024. The election that is coming is 2 months from tomorrow. That is hard to fathom that these 4 years have went. And they're almost gone. Shows you how quick life is moving along and all that has happened in that 4 years. For us, if we go back 4 years ago to November the 5th of 2020, September. If I go back to September the 4th of 2020, during that season, a couple inside of the church had opened up their house, and we would travel down on the weekend, and we were staying there at their house till about Christmas. And that's when they bought us the house to live in down there. So we got to Christmas and started living in that house till we left the area down there. And I think we moved out of that parsonage the weekend after Mother's Day 2022. Our last Sunday down there was May the 1st, and then the next weekend I think was Mother's Day, and then the next week was when we went down to move out. So a lot has happened in those 4 years though. Left a job I'd been at for 15 years. Harlow was born. We started our third church, pastored our third church, and left that church all inside those 4 years. started our new job and been there now almost 2 years. October the 31st will be my second anniversary at Carpenter Company. Gas is $3.09 right there. It's a lot cheaper than that in most places. So $3.09 right there in this little town before Laurinburg. And there's more people getting onto the roads now. You can already see a little difference. St. Andrews University is here in the city of Laurinburg. Got that Biscuitville right there in the city of Laurinburg now. It's been there for several years now. Captain Larry's Seafood and Steaks. That's one of our favorite spots to eat at right there. We like no Captain Larry's. Speed limit down through here 55 miles an hour. Watch your speeds down through here. Laurel Hill Industrial Park right there to the left, the sign said, so we're coming into Laurel Hill. Church day, so many of you will be going to church this evening. Praying God's blessings over the man of God, the women of God as they share God's holy word this evening. See a little more lighting as far as city lighting as we get closer to Laurinburg here. This is the split here where you go to the left here to go into downtown Laurinburg, and to the right will take us on the bypass towards Lumberton. Now the speed limit jumps back up there. go towards Aberdeen. So this is the main exit here that we would use to go to the house. We can get off, go to the right, about 15 minutes to the south, we can get to the house. I believe the speed limit is a little fast myself for this particular stretch of road, but I'm not the one that designs the roads. But you see the Myrtle Beach exit there rolling. Myrtle Beach exit 501 south coming up, 3/4 of a mile. Exit here, jump back on, but be ending this video at this time. So we've taken you from Black Ankle Road, which is in northern Montgomery County, pretty much in the Seagrove area, to Laurinburg, North Carolina this morning. Getting a little closer to my destination, but still got a ways to go this morning, showing me arriving in about an hour and 10 minutes from where I am currently. An hour and 10 minutes I'll be in White Mill, and then we can start the process of getting unloaded and getting on towards Raleigh here. And as the day is breaking, it's not breaking fast enough for me, but I'd like to see a little more daylight out here this morning. It'll help us get on to our destination this morning. But God bless you. Come and see us at Archdale Baptist Church this coming Sunday, which will be Sunday, September the 8th. We will gather and we will worship the King of Kings and Lord of Lords at 8:30 a.m. The service lasted a little long last week as we were sharing the vision. That won't be the norm. But we did have to give what God had given us, and we will always do that. And it's all the Lord's timing. But as we settle more into a routine, the service may be a little shorter than it was last week, just say. But this morning, God bless you. God keep you. Pastor Robbie George coming to you from Laurinburg, North Carolina, on this Wednesday morning, September the 4th. At about 6:11 in the morning. God bless you.